Thank you for coming to this presentation. My name is Aris Emanouloudis. I'm a PhD researcher at the University of Amsterdam. My focus is on online video game communities, and today I will be speaking to you about how video game fans can save their favorite franchises. So, I was planning to begin this presentation in a different way, but then Star Wars Battlefront 2 happened. Has anyone of you played Star Wars Battlefront 2? Is anyone familiar with it? Okay, so I will explain. It was released this week, and people actually complained because there was lots of in-game content that should require an insane amount of gameplay time or money to get unlocked. So EA had to reduce the price and make some changes because people asked for it. And that's a nice example of people asking for something and impacting a video game. But we'll come to that shortly. Before I begin with with what I had in mind, I want to ask you another question. Are you guys familiar with Mass Effect 3? Yes. What about Mortal Kombat? Great. We'll talk about these things. So, Mass Effect 3. It was released in 2012, and once again there were some complaints because BioWare did not, according to the fans, give an accurate and a full round ending to the game. Fans didn't like the way the game ended. They said it lacked closure, so BioWare had to release some downloadable content, some DLC for free, called Mass Effect 3 Extended Cut, and actually give a better ending to the game. And that's also another example of mass demand by fans. Now, I will show you a clip, and then I will ask you something about it. That video was posted on YouTube on 2010. We don't have sound, but at least we can see it. So, what does it look like to you? Does it look like a movie trailer, perhaps? Yeah, well, in fact, it was a video named Mortal Kombat Rebirth, and it was actually a fan-made trailer. There was no movie coming out. It was directed by Kevin Tancharoen, a director but also a long-time fan of Mortal Kombat. There was buzz created around the trailer. People thought that an actual movie was on the way, and even video game websites started writing about it. But what actually happened was a long-time fan drawing attention on him. He was later hired by Warner Brothers to create the web series Mortal Kombat Legacy, just because his trailer was that good. So as we can see, times in the entertainment business and in the video game industry, of course, are changing. Fans now have numerous ways to create content. They have numerous ways to communicate with video game companies, and companies are actually interested in that. Here we see a screenshot from YouTube. This is just one small sample of the thousands of The Last of Us Part 2 reaction videos that were posted online, and in this kind of videos, people saw their reactions and explained their opinions and views on the game. We also have Twitch, which is a platform that allows video game users to stream content online and discuss with other fans. And there are also ways like the share button on PlayStation 4 that allows gamers to upload screenshots or small videos on social media and spread them. And companies listen either through their Facebook pages or Twitter pages. They are open to comments and suggestions. So companies do listen, but the question is how well? What I want you to remember from this presentation is that there are two ways for fans to attract attention for a company and in a manner shape a franchise. Either through mass demand or through individual action. So before we talk about mass demand, I want to ask you again, guys, if you ever tried conducting a company or making some fan art, some game modification, something, and sharing it online. Has anyone made anything? Okay, not yet. But I would like to begin with the part of mass demand and to tell you a story that is one of my favorite stories in the video game industry. In 1992, Mortal Kombat is released, an innovative fighting game that allows players to kill their opponent's character with fatality. But when it was released for the arcades, it had this menu, this option menu, and in the end there was this Ermac option, which stands for error macro. But people back then didn't know what Ermac is, and they thought that Ermac or Ermac is a secret character, is an actual secret character in the game. And they started asking around and sending letters to magazines to see if there is an actual character called Ermac. And Electronic Gaming Monthly, a little later, posted a letter from a reader that claimed that had found Ermac, which is a red ninja. And even sent a blurry picture of a red ninja, and it was blurry because it was edited. There was no Ermac in the game. However, Midway, the company that made the game, took notice of that, and they wanted to play a little with the audience. So in Mortal Kombat 2, they added some teasers like this one that says Ermac who? And people started believing that at least Ermac is in Mortal Kombat 2. He wasn't. But in 1995, in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Ermac became a reality. And he had the exact appearance that fans thought he had, a red ninja. So I found very interesting and also very romantic the fact, the backstory given to the character, which is an entity, a being, made by hundreds or thousands of souls of fallen warriors. So a character that hundreds or thousands of gamers asked for is a character that is also made by hundreds or thousands of other people. See, he says, we are many, you are but one. And that's right, because many people made him happen. A similar story comes from the Street Fighter series, one of the most known games of all time. Street Fighter 2 had Ryu announcing in his winning quote, "You must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance." However, that was a mistranslation from the Chinese version. He actually wanted to say, "You must defeat my Dragon Punch to stand a chance," and that was corrected in future versions. But when people saw the name Sheng Long, they once again thought that that was an actual character in the game. And the magazine Electronic Gaming Monthly posted a fake, but still nicely done, edit and some ways to unlock Sheng Long. Of course, he wasn't there. And they did the same a few years ago for Street Fighter 3. Now I want you to remember the outfit of Sheng Long, because in 2008, when Street Fighter 4 came out, there was a character named Gugen that had the same backstory and same outfit that Sheng Long was supposed to have. See? And there are many examples in other industries as well. For instance, in DC Comics, there was this poll organized by DC Comics in which readers could vote whether they want Jason Todd, then Robin, to die or survive. Most of the people voted for him to die, so he did. So yes, fans asked massively for something, and it happened in a way. Now let's talk about individual action, what one person or a group of people can do. I already showed you the Mortal Kombat Rebirth trailer, a trailer done by one director and his group. It was unofficial, but got the attention of Warner Brothers. And I hear you asking me, is that all you got? Well, wait for it, there's more. Team Fortress 2. Has anyone played Team Fortress 2? Yes? What about Dota 2? Okay, so both Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2 are games that were based on modifications. The first Team Fortress and the first Dota were modifications for other games, but actual video game companies took notice of the success of these games and they hired the developers to create actual games for them. Another example comes from the shoot 'em up genre. DayZ and H1Z1 King of the Kill. There were some modifications for these games developed by PlayerUnknown, and after taking stuff that he liked from both games, he created the highly successful PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So, as I said earlier, for fans to attract attention from a company and in a manner save a franchise, that's possible by either mass demand or individual action. And I prepared a small graph. Apologies, I'm not very good at Photoshop, to explain how this works. We have fandom on the one side, and from the other side we have the industry. And through collective action or through a strong individual action, we bring change. And this has a name. This is called a producer, which is a combination of producer and a user. And it's very relevant these days. Here's another graph, not made by me, so that's why it's better. So we have a content, in our case it's a video game, and the gamer takes it as a user, but also creates fan art or some modification, some video, something as a producer, and then distributes new content. It all sounds well, but there are some concerns. There are always concerns. First, getting lost in the crowd. This is just a small sample of me looking on Google for fan art. There are thousands, even millions of fan art uploaded online. So how do you make your own stand-up? Of course, skills is an issue. We'll come to that shortly. But at the moment I want to focus on what I like calling exploitation or fansploitation. Anybody played Fallout 3 or Fallout 4? Yes. So maybe you remember when Fallout 3 was announced by Bethesda, there was lots of concern by the players. So Bethesda started this forum in which they asked for input by the gamers. They asked them like, okay, tell us your ideas, tell us your suggestions, so we make the game better for you. And some fans liked that idea. They saw it as a nice opportunity to give back to their favorite series. But some other players were not very eager, and they thought that, okay, they're asking us to work for them for free. That shouldn't be allowed. But the majority of the gamers, the majority of the Fallout fans, quickly disregarded those comments, and they thought, no, it's actually an opportunity for us to make the game better. So, when companies ask fans for input, fans don't see it as work. They don't see it as labor. What do they see? They see it as an opportunity to offer back to the community. They also see it as an opportunity to become heard, to have their opinion become heard. And also an opportunity to get some exposure. So free labor, free work in general, is not right if you work for a company for a long term for free. That shouldn't be right. But in funnest activities, in activities like fan art, that is acceptable as long as it remains a hobby. But what fans want? Well, they want credit. Here I have a screenshot from a walkthrough for the very first Tekken game. And the author says that there were some publications that ripped off his walkthrough and they published it without acknowledging him, without giving him any credits. And he's upset for that. But he's not asking for money. All he's asking for is to find other players that have played the game and they want to write to him and create a community around the game and contribute to the game series. But there's an exception here. When fan work makes an impact for the company, then compensation should be given. I already mentioned Kevin Tancharoen, the director. He made a fan trailer. Warner Brothers liked it, they asked him to create more, and of course he got paid for that. Same with Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, all these game modifications that were actually significant for the company that made the official game. But of course companies are for profit organizations, and fans are not always happy when companies are trying to make some money through what fans make. Is anyone familiar with the Bethesda Prison Club? Let's watch a short video and then I'll explain more about it. So, the Creation Club is a community that offers mods and items for sale that other users make. The creators get, of course, some money, but they need Bethesda's approval first, and there have always also been some worries about premium content, like, okay, so we need to purchase this item or this armor or this weapon to win the game easier. And that is visible in some forum threads like Boo Bethesda or Microtransaction Hell. It wasn't well received. How it will end up? I don't know, that remains to be seen. But that brings a question. Are there any different approaches by companies? Because not all companies have the same approach. Well, yeah. And I like what Blizzard does. Of course, this is an example of a company that plays well. Not that other companies don't do it, but I believe that Blizzard fan community management has been really good for years. Of course, others do it as well, but I want to focus a little bit on Blizzard. This is a screenshot from a discussion that some user named Alistair had about Overwatch with one of the people working in Blizzard. So he gave suggestions and he received answers. Also, Blizzard is very active on social media, and this is a proud dad that posted his little daughter's Overwatch fan art. And Blizzard liked it so much, they had their Designers create actual art for Pierced, the fan-made character by that person's daughter. And that caught on, because somebody wanted to make a cosplay of Pierced. So a character that one little girl made became viral because Blizzard helped with that. And Blizzard also has the annual BlizzCon, in which people can go there with cosplay or showcase their creations, their props, their ideas, and yeah, perhaps get some recognition. For instance, we have in this very convention Team Chaos, a very talented group of cosplayers that were approached by Blizzard because they did some really nice work with Overwatch, and they got a job through that. And that brings a question: what can fans earn through doing this? Any ideas, any suggestions? Why fans do that? You guys are fans. Why would you do that? Any ideas? No? Okay, I'll tell you my ideas and then we can discuss. I think a sense of belonging is very important. They get to become a part of an imagined community, a community without physical borders. People can communicate, people can feel that they belong in an online environment and not be limited by physical borders, because they know that somewhere in the world there are people with same interests. They also get the opportunity to express their creativity and connect with other people. They also get the opportunity for recognition and also to make the transition to professionalism, like some directors or some game modders did. So in the case of mass demand, when lots of people ask for something, there are no specific skills required, just the creation of buzz around something. It's about giving back to the community, no profits are expected, and one of the reasons is that it's impossible to trace. Like, it's impossible to find out who said it first. If lots of people are complaining about something, everybody said it first. However, in the case of individual action, skills are necessary. No profits are expected, fans make it because they like the series, but if picked up, the maker expects something and should better be given. What do we learn by studying this? Why should we bother? Well, because fan voices can be heard easily. That's one of the things we get to understand. Fans are no strangers to having their work picked up. Companies are always in the constant lookout for nice ideas by fans. And fans don't bother. So payment depends on the impact of their work. If it changes the series, if it adds something to the canon of the series, then yes, payment should be expected. So through mass demand and individual action, fans can attract attention from the company and save the franchise. And here's once again the graph. Of course, things are not always ideal. There have been some cases when companies were not very embracing of what fans made. Anyone that knows Project M? Okay, so Project M is a modification of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was released in 2008. Lots of people found it lacking, so in 2011, Project M came out. It was a modification that had some changes in gameplay and some characters that people asked for. I have a small trailer of Project M here. Is it working? Yes. team behind Project M made sure to add Mewtwo, a character that was not in the original game, but they wanted him to be, and they included him in the game. And here's a screenshot from the character selection screen, much bigger than the original. But when Nintendo found out about the game's popularity, well, it became banned from tournaments, and anybody who would mention Project M in official Nintendo threads was banned immediately. So sometimes you should be careful with what you make, and if that's going against the profits of the company. So in case you've been wondering how you can do it, well, I'll give you some advice. First, go social. All companies have dedicated Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, accounts and pages. Tekken, for instance, has this Facebook page that shares all the time fan art or videos sent by fans. Also, join communities and forums. You can find communities and forums about anything and everything. Here is a thread on Reddit about Machinima, fan-made videos. You should always be asking for help. Here again another Machinima forum, and somebody here is saying who's interested in being a video, or some other people are asking for advice. So there are always people willing to help you. Practice, practice, practice. Practice always makes better. For instance, Steam has a library of free-to-download programs like the Source Filmmaker that you can download and practice with your creations. You should always share and be open to feedback. And here we see someone that created a video game music composition and is asking other people for their opinion. And something very important, do it for fun and not for money. But you never know what could happen. Now let's see some other examples, some side stories. The occasion of fans with fans of their own. Anybody knows this guy? The Angry Video Game Nerd. Yeah. So this guy, Angry Video Game Nerd, started as a video games fan, a person that would upload funny and sometimes vulgar reviews of video games on his page. And quickly he started gathering a following around him. So he made the transition of being a fan to being actually a content maker with fans of his own. And these people also helped him fund his first movie. So a fan of video games now has fans of his own, and they donate money to him, they donate game, and they help him create even more. Here is a small video of one of his episodes, the introduction of one of his episodes, in which we see some fans actually making covers of the theme song, and yeah, some of them sent it to him, so he included them to the intro of his episode. Okay, but what I really like is how this intro ends with this. What have we started? Just a regular fan who made videos because of his love for video games, became a community leader. That's also possible. I also find intriguing the fact that there are wikis about fan-made content. The Death Battle series started as a project by a popular culture fan, in which he pitted characters from popular culture fighting each other to the death, and now this project has a wiki in which people, not only the makers of the show, but other people are contributing. side thing is when fans are asking other fans for support. I already mentioned the nerd, but there are also means like tweets in which people can make donations and get some tokens or some special messages added in their profile because they want to support the streamer. And there's always Patreon, and you can find lots of examples and lots of material about video games in Patreon, like video game fan art or video game modification. So this is another way of fans to make some money because of their love of a series and a franchise. So, to sum things up, I want you to remember that you're not alone in your fandom. You can always make your voice heard, and you should never hesitate to create content. You never know what might happen. And this is how it happens. Either through mass demand or strong individual action, change can come to the industry. Thank you for your attention. And now I would like to have a short discussion with you. Any questions, any comments, any ideas that you would like to discuss? Anyone? No? Okay, let me ask you something. You said that no one of you has ever created some fan art, but is there a specific reason on why? Does anyone want to say something? Okay, I'll bring the microphone.
So, I've been playing games for like forever, and I was in many clubs, and they always said to me, well, you need to be a club leader. And I was like, I don't want to have that sort of responsibility. And eventually something happened with that, and I went out of it, and half of that community, they followed me, and now we're busy mostly focusing on Warface, and to want to build a community around it. And it's like, well, I'm not the one who's creating the content, but we're trying to make a place where people can come and we can help them learn to play the game. And once we set up like Warface, we go to other games to make a really big community. And I always tell people, listen, look for other people that have talent, bring it out, and help build the community better. That's also why I'm here, so I'm really thankful that you made it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment and your input. So you said that you were in a community and you were expelled by it because, is that what you said?
I went out of it because under the leadership of the clan leader, I didn't saw in his vision, it was his way of leading it. It was not my way. I want to be more, and now we're making how to play Warface, like tutorials, how you should do spec ops and how you can run things. Helping people level up, letting them understand the difference between PvE and PvP. And we have really talented people who can make, like what you said, concept art. And we're still like in baby steps. It's like what I said to the guys here, like, you need to get them on board with you just said.
No, that's very nice actually, and what people often forget is that, you know, behind those screens, behind the keyboards, there are actual human beings. And yeah, sometimes people can be aggressive, people can be toxic, but that should not be the case. The case should be that, yeah, we all like something, we all like the game, so that's why we create this community, to share our passion, share our love about something. And yeah, we should have, you know, more encouraging behaviors like yours in online environments. That's a good example. Keep it up. Any other comments? No? Okay, so thank you again for coming, and let's go make some change.